Welcome to Age to Perfection with your host, Dr. Patel, an esteemed anti-aging specialist and the co-owner of the renowned RenewWellnessCenter. Today, we're peeling back the layers of medical-grade skincare, uncovering its pivotal role in not just preserving, but enhancing the health and vitality of your skin. Whether you're a skin aficionado or new to the concept of medical-grade products, you're in the right place for a masterclass on transforming your skincare regimen.
I think today we're going to start with the basics. And I think the basics are in our industry, even though we talk about anti-aging and wellness and being healthy inside and outside, the basics start, I think, with skincare.
I would have to agree with you. That makes me proud.
So the other reason I chose skincare is because I think that's how me and you got our start. Mm-hmm. You probably don't remember it, but I'll remind you. But I think when you talk about wellness, when you talk about anti-aging, when you look at someone, the first thing and the first sign as a physician of a healthy person is their skin, right? That's the first thing you're looking at. How much damage they've had, what their skin looks like. It gives their age away. It gives their profession away sometimes. That's the first clue and hint for wellness and anti-aging, right? A little bit of fun trivia. So the earliest evidence of skincare being used was 6,000 years ago in Egypt. So we have the Egyptians to thank for it. They were using castor oil, sesame oil. These were all created to protect against insects, sun damage, in that area, sand, all of those weathering factors that make you look older, right? And then the first cosmetics started in China, and they started with lead, which sounds so...
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, so we've had an interesting history of all kinds of chemicals and things that we have put in our bodies, and hopefully we have evolved since then. Tell me about your first experience with skincare.
I think early on, I'm grateful to my mother for being a proponent of good skincare. So back in the day when I was a teenager, the most common skincare for our age was Dove and Nivea and Pond's. So the number one, do you remember Pond's cold cream?
Yes!
That was the number one thing. We used to buy, because there were three girls and my mom, so there was totally four of us. And so we used to buy 4 jars of Pond's cold cream. Everybody got their own jar. That was the mainstay. And then we used a little Nivea in between that. And that was how we got started. And then as time went on, and probably as I got older, right, we didn't have social media like the kids do now to TikTok or skincare regimen or Instagram or watch a reel on it. So just like with friends and talking and things like that, then I kind of moved into what I would call maybe a little higher end Pond's cold cream.
What was that first like aha moment where you're like, oh, I really should do more skincare?
Well, it just feels good going on, right? At that age, I was blessed with good skin, but like putting that cream on, it made me feel like I was doing something, but it felt good, right? And then it just, maybe that was the reason my skin felt softer. At that age, I probably didn't correlate it, but now if I think about it, yeah, it's probably why my skin stayed so soft.
Yeah. Do you know my first aha moment?
What was it?
So I don't know if you remember this, but it was a couple months before I was getting married. And I remember my husband, fiance at the time, called me. I was breaking out from stress, from wedding planning, all of it. And it was leaving all these dark marks, and I was so self-conscious about it. And he's like, hold on, let me call my sister. She's going to fix this for you, I promise.
But I don't remember that.
I know. So you actually met me at Town Center parking lot. And
that sounds about right. In the trunk. I'm like, let me pull out my stash.
So you gave me a bag of skincare and you taught me how to use it. And then you turned around and you were like, okay, that's going to be like $275. Mind you, I was like a broke resident at the time. And I was like, wait, you want how much money? And I was like, I remember I called up with them like, what about the family discount? And you were like, that is the family discount. So, but I remember
Did you use it?
I did. My skin was flawless at my wedding.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But that was my first aha moment. That was after using that skincare was my first moment that I was like, oh, maybe that $275 was worth it. I had gorgeous skin for my wedding.
We don't talk about this all the time.
We do.
You're making that investment, and it sounds like a lot, but this is skincare that's going to prevent aging for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's so worth it. Imagine how much lasers cost or the other things that we do. And I'm like, it's so simple, but people make it complicated, I feel like.
They do. So modern skincare started in 1906 with the FDA. They created a FDA approved almost line of skincare, right? We talk about FDA approved versus FDA not approved. So the four big ones that got approved at that time, L'Oreal, Elizabeth Arden, Max Factor, Maybelline.
Okay.
Do any of them make medical grade skincare?
No.
None of them do. None of them.
But they're really good at marketing.
They're very good at marketing. So the trend in 1906 started where everybody wanted to be lighter. They wanted all these creams to make them lighter. And then 1930s happened. So me and you are dealing with the 1930s crew now because that was the baby oil generation. And that was the let's lay out in the sun and the tanning beds and all of those things. Now we're seeing the effects of it today, right? So while we have all of our wonderful lasers and things like that, let's say back then they had the concept of grass, right? So for those of you who don't know what grass is a mnemonic that we all learned in medical school and in our medical training about how to really break down the necessities of the skin on a cellular level. And layer by layer level, right? Why don't you go through grass for us?
So the mnemonic, which makes it really easy when I'm consulting with patients. So G is for growth factors. So things that will help build the integrity of your skin. R is for retinoids. And so it is FDA approved. It's a vitamin A that helps with lines and wrinkles, tightness, laxity. It's like the magic. A is for antioxidants. So we typically think, just for example, vitamin C, which has become very popular in mainstream now. Tons of skincare products out there have vitamin C in it. S is for sun protection. So that's probably the holy grail of taking care of your skin. And you want to make sure it's a physical, not chemical. We know now zinc oxide, titanium. We want to stick to those really good, clean ingredients. And then the last S, I say supplement, right? So if you've got pigmentary issues, you might be on tranexamic acid or hydroquinone. If you have acne, then we might be adding, some sort of Clinda topically or maybe a benzoyl or something like that. Eye creams, things that we need to supplement any kind of corrective things that need to happen. So that's sort of how I use grass.
Okay, so in your decade plus of experience doing this, and this is why I chose skincare, because this is what you know the best. Research studies have shown that there are now better ingredients out there. We are thinking about skincare very differently than even the 1930s that I just mentioned, right? So let's go kind of through that mnemonic, but I kind of want to take it from the backwards to forward. So let's start with sunscreen. Okay, you just talked about clean ingredients. And so for those of you that may not know, a few years ago, the FDA put out a list of toxic ingredients that within 30 minutes of application, they become toxic levels within your bloodstream. Now, a lot of topical ingredients are FDA regulated. A lot of them are not.
Right.
So one, I think we need to inform everybody to really pay attention to what is approved and what is not approved.
They haven't all been pulled. That's the other key. Like, they're still out there. They're not all off the shelves.
I can't tell you how many of my kids' sunscreens I threw away. So when you talk about good sunscreen, zinc and titanium, I think the biggest pushback I get from my patients is, I don't want to look greasy.
Right.
I don't want to look like a ghost.
Right.
Which is, I think, the biggest hindrance for sunscreen. Tell me how you get past that with your patients.
No, I agree. I think there's always a good excuse behind why they don't want to have sunscreen, right? Either you break out or you feel greasy. The great part is that's why I emphasize the medical grade ones, because I feel like the ones that are medical grade, whether it be your brand name SkinCeuticals, Neocutis, Elastin, what else, Isden, all of those. Obagi, right? I feel like there's such a good mix of physical sunscreens, Elta MD, that are out there. I mean, there's so many good medical grade ones. that you can find the right one. I encourage my patients to don't give up if you don't find the right one. One might make you feel greasy, one might be the exact one for you, and then there's tinted and non-tinted. So a lot of times I find like the tinted ones are easier to tolerate for patients that are worried about being greasy. For some reason, that tint creates a little bit more of that matte feel versus that greasy feel. So I just counsel them, and then I let them know that they're going to pay me a lot more money in the future if they don't wear it. Usually, I get their ears like they're listening now. Now they're listening. I'm like, well, you're going to have to do a lot more lasering.
It's like, it's fine.
Yeah. Well, don't wear it. That's perfectly fine. I'll be here for a while. So, I'll just see you back for your laser treatments. That's kind of how I get around it, and just having them try different ones. So I let them know, I'm like, there's always an option. Don't give up if you feel like you're getting greasy.
Can I tell you about a conversation I had with my husband last week?
Yeah. He doesn't wear sunscreen?
No, he does. No, but this is, no, seriously, 12 years of being married, okay? And this is what I do for a living. And it was a cloudy day, and we were taking the kids out somewhere. I don't know where we were going. And I was putting on sunscreen. He's like, oh, but it's cloudy outside. Why are you putting it? I'm like, what part of put it on every single day did you not understand? And so tell me why, even on a cloudy day.
Hello, there's UV light everywhere. The protection
even inside the building, inside your office.
Lights everywhere. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You should be wearing your sunscreen, and you should be reapplying every few hours. That's really, if you really don't want to have sun damage, you don't want to age quicker than you're aging right now, that is the key. Yeah.
Spray versus lotion versus stick.
Oh gosh, you know how I feel about this.
Yes, but our listeners don't.
Oh my gosh. I'm just a firm believer that anything that you're applying to your skin as a global, okay, fine, let's take stick for example, although I feel like those are the greasiest if that's what somebody's worried about. But I like the lotions and the creams, the sunscreen that comes in a bottle, you put it on. The sprays, you're not getting full coverage. The makeup brush, which I know the girls here in the office have been begging me to bring in, I just won't do it. It's not giving you enough coverage. You need full coverage. And the only way to get that is to actually apply it all over the face. And you can only do that with what's in a bottle.
What about what's in my makeup bottle? My SPF 30 foundation. Why isn't that enough?
Well, okay. So if it's SPF 30, it could be. If you're a darker skin type and you're at about an SPF 30, that's fine. But if you're at a lighter skin type, you really need to get as close to 50, not about 50, just as close to 50 as possible. The other thing is, how is that SPF 30 made up? We just talked about the ingredients list. So what is in there that is creating an SPF 30? You have to dive a little deeper into that and look at the ingredients and say, okay, I've got an SPF 30 foundation, but it's made up of oxynitate and all these other little ingredients that are at 1% or 3% or 5%, which aren't physical, they're chemical. And then you're putting that on your skin and it's not giving you the maximum protection. So I tell my patients, I don't like sunscreen and makeup unless you can exactly tell me what's in it. And typically, I'd be surprised to see a 30. I usually only see 15, but with a 30, if it's a darker skin type with good ingredients, I'll let it slide. I'm yet to see that though.
Okay. Now let's talk about our specialty serums or
the second S.
Second S. I know that we can do a whole other hour-long discussion on specialty serums because that would cover acne and melasma and rosacea and all those. What we mean by specialty serums is anything that is specific to you. What does your skin need? That's that customization that comes into it, right? So without diving too deep into it, my big question with this, because we're treating things like rosacea, acne, melasma, and we have a whole prescription, especially us being physicians, we get this whole other list of things that we get, tools that we get to use in our tool belt. When do you feel like medical grade versus prescription?
I mean, usually when it's resistant, because I try really hard.
To go medical grade first?
Yes. Like if I can get by with using something that's a little gentler on the skin, something easy to tolerate, and they're getting good results, then why go to the prescription strain? But when it's resistant, and that's kind of all you can do, then we'll go ahead and go to it. It also depends on what we're looking at. I feel like I probably gravitate more towards prescriptive when we're talking about acne or rosacea patients. But with hyperpigmentation, melasma, things like that, I think a lot of times there's not a whole lot of prescription you can use. So it really depends on the condition and what's available and what's working the best.
Well, the reason I bring up the prescription is because now there are so many little online companies.
Oh, yes.
Where you fill out a little form.
Yeah.
You check mark all of your problems, you send them a prescription, and I mean, I don't know who's coming up with the regimen.
Right. Without them actually talking about the side effects and the potential long-term complications of using hydroquinone that's not monitored by a physician. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to. So it's tempting, right?
Very.
Like,
and it's not that it doesn't work.
No, but your average woman, we're busy. We have kids, we have lives, we have work.
Sure.
I don't have 45 minutes to come sit in our office, fill out some paperwork, and talk to you. So isn't it easier to just go online?
Definitely.
Pay the little whatever monthly prescription fee and do it that way. Why is now in an automated world where everything is delivered to us, why is this worth the effort?
Well, that's why. Because yes, it's accessible, but that doesn't mean you should, right? It's a lot of things that we could say are accessible, but you shouldn't do it. And namely these prescription medications that are just ordered off. Yeah.
Adverse reactions?
Not yet. And I say not yet because I think this has now become a little bit more mainstream than it was before. So I feel like the popularity is gaining now because everyone obviously is using it, having good results. But it's that small percentage where something is bound to happen with someone is going to use it and not have the correct guidance on how they should be using it, how often they should be using it, any type of weaning or holiday that they should be taking from it, and what are the long-term complications of that. None of that is done on Facebook or Instagram ads.
No.
You don't see it. I'm scrolling through it at night and I see them pop up and I'm like, there's no other information other than this is so magical and it's going to cure everything you have that's going on with you.
I will tell you 2 complications I feel like I've had with my patients doing the online thing. One of them had no idea she had underlying rosacea. Got one of those kits and then it just flared. And I mean, I think it took us a good 5 months to get a handle on it. And then the other one was a hydroquinone burn.
It was too strong.
It was too strong.
And they were, for their skin.
For their skin. And nobody had counseled them on starting small, starting slow, customizing it to how their skin sensitivity goes.
And these things are high prescription too. They're not like your mild.
They're not over the counter. People don't understand that they are prescription grade.
Yes, that you can just order by a click of a button.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so we talked about specialty serums. Now let's talk about antioxidants. Okay, so I think up until now vitamin C and antioxidants have been synonymous with each other.
Right.
But with modern technology and modern science, I think we are getting better and better about the different types of antioxidants that are out there. Tell me some of your favorites that you've tried, you don't like, you like.
I'm a special case. You know this already.
I do.
So I love vitamin C. Unfortunately, I can't use the ones that are in the serum format, those cute little droppers that everybody loves, whether it be C ferulic or even the Obagi vitamin C or the Flavo C by Isden. All of these are favorites, and I'm always jealous of those that can use it. But I tend to break out with them. So the one that I actually like the most that I have been tolerating, which is ironic, is the Elastin C Radical Defense. For sensitive skin, it's actually really good because it's not in a dropper. But because I'm sensitive to vitamin C, I use more of the, so like the melatonin and the bucanol and those other ingredients that kind of help calm the skin for sensitive skin. So I tend to stay away from your traditional vitamin C as an antioxidant. And I love that they're finding new properties and ingredients that are helping those of us who have challenged skin and who cannot use the antioxidants that traditionally we think about. So yeah, I love that they're coming out with some new stuff.
Speaking of new things, there's So I think we need to realize that the conversation around antioxidants is going to change in the next 5 years, not even 10 years, in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Last year, the Journal of Aesthetic Dermatology printed a couple of articles about new up and coming antioxidants. I'm going to butcher the name, okay? Quinone. Quercetin is another one. And of course, we know ferulic acid, vitamin E, bakuchi oil, licorice root extract, melatonin. These are all names that the layperson has not heard yet.
Yeah.
Right? But they are coming down the pipelines. And the reason I think we need to address antioxidants. So why don't you educate me on why antioxidants? What is it actually doing in my skin?
Yeah. So the reason we emphasize it, especially here in Texas, is because there's so much heat and there's so much UV where we are. Antioxidants basically almost create a protection for you. So they decrease the oxidative stress on your face. So when your stress is stressed out, basically I tell my patients it de-stresses your face. So that is the important part about antioxidants, especially here. So
you just mentioned UV and protection against UV. So why isn't my sunscreen enough? Why do I need to spend $160 on a vitamin C cream?
Because you said sunscreen. Unfortunately, sunscreen is sunscreen. It just screens some of the UV. So it's important, but it's not blocking it completely. Back in the good old days, really far back, we used to have a sun block, right? And we don't always distinguish the two. You can no longer find sunblock. Sunblock used to be something you applied where it didn't even get through your skin. Now we have sunscreens, and that's the only thing we can use. And so you're still getting some of that UV through it, even if you reapply. It's equally important to do that and complement that with an antioxidant so it kind of decreases. They work together.
They do. There are a couple of antioxidants now that we're using at nighttime, right? I mean, we're drinking our wine. This is our resveratrol in a glass, which is an antioxidant, right? So antioxidants literally repair the damage that is happening every single day as we're exposed to the sun and sun damage. So these nighttime repairs versus daytime repair, tell me, would you pick one versus other? Which one is better since everything is happening on the inside? Do I need both? Do I need morning and night?
It's twice a day. I mean, how long is this going to last on your skin? You're talking about a 12-hour difference, right? So in the most ideal situations, you want to do something twice a day. Now, I'm a little bit more forgiving to my patients. I always ask them because I want to set them up for success. Are you better about putting skincare on in the morning or the night? Or if I gave you a twice-a-day regimen, would you do it? And based on that is when I concentrate what they need. So if they tell me morning, I'm throwing the kitchen sink at them in the morning. I mean, they're walking away with 4 or 5 products in the morning, including an antioxidant, your sunscreen, all of that. And then hopefully praying that they put their retinoid and some moisturizer on at night, right? Or vice versa. If they're like, I'm not going to do what you tell me to do in the morning, I'm just too busy, then I will do the nighttime routine. But preference is twice a day.
Okay, so let's talk about retinoids.
Yes.
Retinol, retinoids, retinaldehyde, put an end to anything. Retin anything.
Something vitamin A, something. All of it. Oral, topical.
All of it.
Swim in it.
Bathe in it.
Yes.
Tell me the difference. That's a very common question.
Now we're getting into chemistry, but I won't get that deep into it.
No, don't get that deep into it.
So tretinoin is what we're all used to hearing. It's generic Retin A, right? Your dermatologist will prescribe it to you. Our kids use it for acne, but it's also FDA cleared for anti-aging. It's the only thing that really is, right? It's been proven to show that you will get more collagen, increased elasticity, less fine lines and wrinkles. It also helps with pigmentation. So that is the strongest vitamin A, is the tretinoin, right? And so if you can tolerate it and actually use it every single night, that's the most ideal situations. But those of us who are special like myself who cannot tolerate that every single night, you can either go to it twice a week or you take it down a notch to the retinaldehydes, right? And then if you really can't tolerate that, then you go to the retinols, right? And then there's different versions of the retinols and there's different versions of the retinaldehydes that you just try to find what you can tolerate. If you can be on a retinoid, that is what is recommended. What it's doing is creating that cell turnover, which is what you want. Those of us that can't do vitamin A at all, though, my backup choice is glycolic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there an age that you stop tretinoin at for your patients?
Stop? No.
No. I mean,
Like
tretinoin and then move them to retinaldehyde. Like, is there do you feel like, oh, after this age, I feel like tretinoin is a little, you don't really need it for the anti-aging. You can move to the retinols, the retinaldehydes, or do you really, if you can tolerate it?
I keep them on it long term. I mean, if they can tolerate tretinoin into their 60s, 70s, I mean, I just say stay on the strongest one.
I think one of the questions people say is retinol, retinaldehydes, tretinoin, they do thin the skin.
True, and I guess I can see what you're saying is if they're aging and you're trying to say, but you still want the cell turnover, you still want the fine lines and wrinkles, you still want the elasticity improved, you still want the collagen build. So if you're tolerating it and you're not having any issues, abrasions or irritation or redness, I say stay on it.
Okay. Do's and don'ts with retinol. Let's go over them real quick because I think a lot of people, when they are prescribed retinols or when they pick it up, well, they don't really get any direction.
Yeah, on how to use it.
I
mean, I step mine into it. So I tell them once or twice a week at night, put your moisturizer on afterwards, maybe wait a little bit in between that step just to give it time to settle. If they can tolerate it after the second week, then they can increase it to every other night. If they can't tolerate it, but they don't want to do without it because of all the benefits we talked about, we do a little sandwich method.
Ooh, what's a sandwich?
Sandwich, we call it the retinol sandwich, retin-A sandwich. Put your moisturizer on.
Wait, hold on. Cream or serum?
Either one, whichever one you're using. I don't think it matters, but if it's irritating, then it would be cream. Okay. I would say some sort of thicker type moisture. And then you let that settle and you put your retin-A on, right? Your tretinoin. And then
how long do you wait?
I'm impatient, so I tell them 30 seconds to a minute. I mean, I'm like, if I can't wait more than 30 seconds, you probably couldn't either. So I just tell them 30 seconds to a minute just until it's all the way dry. And then you put your retinol on and then you layer it back on with your moisturizer. So you kind of double it up and make it like a sandwich. Then usually you can tolerate that a little better and it might...
Do you make them wait that 10 minutes before the second layer of moisture?
No, I mean, I'm telling you, I'm impatient. I know they are. Who has time to sit in front of a mirror for 10 minutes? Maybe somebody does. Okay, if you do, then just wait 3 to 5 minutes between each session. But if you don't, and you're like me, 30 seconds to a minute. And then, I just tell them to sandwich it and see if they tolerate it so that way they can get up to every night. Now, I did read a study that showed, and I do tell my patients this, that if you're using it for anti-aging, even if you're using it every 72 hours, you're going to get a benefit.
Yeah, because the half-life is so long, right?
Exactly. So if you can tolerate the retin-A every third night and you're doing okay, then don't sandwich it. Just put it directly in your skin. But if you really can't tolerate that and you don't want the redness, you don't, the peeling and all that other stuff that nobody likes, then you can use the sandwich method.
What age do you start retinol for your patients?
I typically get them started at 28, 29,
for the aging part.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean,
because I know for acne they start younger.
They start younger.
For the aging,
I say
what age?
28 to 30. As soon as they can start, you start losing collagen at that point.
You do,
and you don't even realize it because you can't see it until
because all those wonderful fat pads are still nice and
I realized it at 36, and I was like, oh my god, it's happening. And then 38, it was worse. And I was like, oh my god, it's really happening. We just won't talk about how old I am now, but it's just been happening. So, I'm 28 to 30.
Okay, so the last mnemonic, G, growth factors.
Growth factors.
We all know growth factors promote healthy skin. These are what I like to say, and I like to tell my patients, this is your construction crew. They're doing all of the repair work as things are kind of breaking down, right? Yeah. And God knows we're all breaking down.
Yeah, we are.
A lot of growth factor options on the market. Human versus nature derived.
I mean, you're just asking me these questions because you know how I feel about it. But we're human. We're not plants. So my theory is it complements us, right? So I'm a big believer in human-derived growth factors for skin regeneration, dermal building, all of the things.
Do you feel like the plant ones do well, or?
I mean, okay. I mean, if you want to put apple something on your face, go for it. I don't know. I mean, I'm not an apple, so I just not a believer, but some might be. So, I mean, I'm sure apple growth factors work well for apples.
Yeah.
So that's just that's my take on it.
And growth factors were the one thing that I feel like gave me that, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much of a difference just adding growth factors into your skin can make. And I think this is the one area that is going to explode. And it's already exploding. So the next big it thing, I feel like the last 10 years was antioxidants. Everybody was harping, vitamin C, antioxidants. I think the next 10 years are actually going to be growth factors. And they're actually going to be biologics that are going to come out. They're already coming out.
Yeah.
Right now. So tell me about what you feel like is going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years.
It goes back to your point about Reni, right? That's our gold standard for anti-aging. And you said it thins out the skin. Well, growth factors, why is there a whole mnemonic? And why are we trying to get patients on a regimen? Because the growth factors actually help build the dermis, build the thickness, build the health of the tissue back, right? You want all of it. They all complement each other. And I think, like you alluded to, that in the future, people are going to realize you can't just do one thing. You have to do all of it to make it better. But, we're already seeing the biologics come out. They've already been around for a long time. They just haven't gained popularity until now, especially because in medicine, we're also seeing a lot of stem cell regeneration and things. So people are becoming more educated and savvy about those type of treatments.
Mm-hmm. So for those of you that don't know what we're talking about when we say biologics, these are newer science and technology products that are coming out where we are able to extract growth factors, higher concentrated growth factors, cleaner growth factors, human-derived growth factors. And I think the big issue in the past has been shelf stability.
Right.
Now I think with modern science and modern technology, we're getting better and better with the shelf technology. The other thing I feel like, and the other arena is now we are getting more and more into lasers, right? Mm-hmm. Skincare is your foundation. This is your protection. This is your everyday. But when you have to do that repair work, you do the lasers. And after the lasers, when you're on purpose damaging the skin and then you're wanting to repair that skin, that's where it's coming in now. But I think in the next 5 to 10 years, what's going to happen is it's going to get more customized.
Yeah.
There is already technology out there where we are trying to take our own growth factors, put it in a bottle and in a cream and be able to shelf stabilize it and give it right back to you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And we haven't talked about AI either, which is huge, right? Like that's coming. It's coming in the next decade. 20 years, 30 years, you're going to start seeing a lot more AI generated.
Well, I know you tell me every day I'm going to be replaced by a robot. So please educate me on how I'm going to be replaced by a robot.
This is what I hear. They're just going to be able to stab Botox in your forehead too for you. They're going to scan your face and tell you exactly what you need. And it's coming.
So then what's mine and your job?
Hopefully we'll just be retired by then and drinking wine. This is going to be our job. This will be our job.
There we go. No, and I like the idea of AI. I honestly think AI and all the technology that's going to come out is going to make us better practitioners because the human touch and what people don't realize is, yes, I can scan your face, but that computer doesn't know your lifestyle. That computer doesn't know your children. And that computer doesn't know the sensitivity of your skin.
Okay,
that computer doesn't know the vacations you're going on.
I hope you're right, but you just talked about how people are clicking on Facebook to order their skincare.
And we're seeing the complications come out of it.
We are, but how many, you're talking about AI. It's going to replace you too. I hope you're around. I'm just telling you.
Thanks.
It might be replacing you.
Are you trying to tell me something?
I'm just saying it's replacing both of us eventually.
I hope we have a plan B.
We'll think about it soon.
Okay, so we went through all of skincare and everything. We went through harmful ingredients. We went through helpful ingredients. Home ingredients.
Oh, Lord. You and I are Indian, so we grew up on home remedies. Right?
That's why I bring it up.
Oh gosh, the turmeric and the yogurt, the turmeric and they mixed it together and you apply a paste or you add lemon to it as an exfoliant. I think there's some truth behind some of it. Baking soda and something for the...
as human beings, we started with lead, okay? We're getting better with the turmeric.
We are, yes. At least it's a little bit more plant-derived versus chemical. I tell my patients, look, if it's working for you, I'm not going to argue with You know, I think we're seeing a lot more of it because of the TikTok and Instagram and, you know, I mean.
My stance on at-home stuff is, it's not that it's wrong, right? The turmeric, the vitamin C, all of these things, this is how we started. This is how we started. These are all the things that we're using. But I think what people don't realize is, yeah, your skin's job is to keep everything out. Mm-hmm. It's your biggest defense mechanism system. Now I want to put things in. So when my patients say, why do I need to spend $160 on this cream versus doing my at-home masks, I think people don't realize that
there's properties to help it get there.
You're not paying for the vitamin C.
Yeah.
Right? You're paying for that carrier system. Okay, so we talked about skincare, we talked about customized skincare, and I think the other big question that I get out of my patients right now is, what age do you start? Because now we have this trend that because of TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, we have 10-year-olds.
Sephora queens.
Sephora queens starting on skincare. Mm-hmm. My little 10-year-old niece is like, all I want for my birthday is skincare. And I'm like, you have the most fabulous skin ever.
I'm like, enjoy it, please. Yeah.
What do you tell them?
I mean, thankfully, I don't have 10-year-olds coming to me for skincare in the office.
No. It's the moms coming. Oh my God. I don't know how she got a hold of my Amazon cart, but she ordered 8 things and now she's got this huge rash on her face.
Oh my gosh.
Last month, one of my patients came in. She's like, do you see kids? Please tell me you can fix her skin.
I mean, I had a 27-year-old who came in with her mom today and was talking to her mom about, hey, I need to get Botox. And her mom's like looking at me like, is she supposed to get Botox right now? And I went through, I was like, okay, raise your eyebrows, brown. You could not see a wrinkle. She's like, it's because I have a ponytail. I was like, no, you have no wrinkles. You should enjoy the fact that you have no wrinkles. You don't need to be doing Botox. But what I did tell her, now as you move into 28, 29, 30, what you really need to start focusing on is getting on a good skincare regimen, right? So I always tell my late 20s, mid 20s, if I can get them into a good routine, that's what I start them out with first. And putting that Retin-A on, getting the retinols in before you turn 30 or 31, 32, getting an early start on it will help a lot. And the sunscreen. I mean,
when you tell them to add the growth factors.
From the get-go. I mean, start now.
You know, wait till your 40s. Even darker skin patients?
No,
I mean, we age very well.
We do, but go for it. Why? I don't want to get any older than I have to.
Okay.
I mean, it's not harmful.
All right, fine. So the gist of it is, let's throw the entire book at everybody. Okay? Right? And that's what you've told me in the last 30 minutes.
If they'll do it.
But not everybody has Jeff Bezos' money. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to come up with a few scenarios, and I want you to kind of give me an answer. Okay?
Gosh, it's like the pressure seat.
Uh-huh. I know. Uh-huh. But these are your average day-to-day patients that are going to come in. All right.
Okay.
22-year-old college student, moderate acne, no money.
Oh, God.
Max budget $300. Give me a skincare routine.
Okay. Oh, my gosh. How old did you? 22?
22.
College student. Mm-hmm. Moderate acne. Is it cystic? Do I get some details here?
Yes, cystic acne.
Okay.
Because at 22, you're eating Taco Bell at 3 a.m., okay?
Very true. But the other thing is, I'm hoping she has insurance. Because I'm going to play
still under mommy and daddy's insurance till 26.
Exactly. So I'm like, praying she has insurance. So at least I can probably put her on some topicals. But my first thing would probably be, this is what I tell my young adults that have acne, especially in college, is most likely it's stress related, right? Or they haven't grown out of their teenage acne. And so what I let them know, and a lot of times what they're doing is, what I find is they're doing too much. So I'm like, let's take it down a notch. To me, when you have a problem in your skin, less is more. So I put them on a basic cleanser, and it could honestly be Cetaphil, especially at this age, because she's on a budget.
Yes.
So I pick where I need to spend the money. Mm-hmm. So Cetaphil, usually the sunscreen over the counter, or maybe something a little bit more medical grade, just because.
And Cetaphil has a good acne sunscreen.
They do. And then I'll probably prescribe her something like a tretinoin or something with Clinton benzoyl, depending on what type of acne it is. So that's where I would start.
And then what are you spending your $300 on? Because that right now is like $10.
Well, I'm okay with it being under a budget.
No, but that's what I'm asking is where
I would probably say I would see her back and then tell her to get like a hydrofacial or a laser genesis. I would spend the money more on a treatment
okay.
than I would on the skincare product.
Okay.
And I would have to do something really light on the skincare. But I would have her back. Yeah. I wouldn't do the vitamin C yet. I wouldn't do growth factors. I don't think at this
She's
age
22.
She doesn't need any of that. I would just be really, really.
And for those of you guys that don't know, the reason she said definitely no vitamin C is we know with acne prone skin, vitamin C can actually make it worse.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Single mom of 3.
Oh gosh.
So 3 kids.
Okay.
In the morning is chaos.
Yeah.
Because you're alone with 2 kids in
the
morning is chaos. Or some days 5 of them.
Kids. Yeah.
Very, very little time.
Yep.
Give me a sample regimen. 3 things in the morning.
Okay.
3 to 4 in the evening.
Okay.
Keep me under 500.
Okay. That I feel like is very doable. So morning time, what I emphasize is if they can wash their face, I even cheat with some of my busy moms and tell them to just put a toner on in the morning, moisturizer and sunscreen. I know you just gave me some big eyes, but I do. I cheat because I sympathize. Like I'm in that life too. So either a cleanser or a toner, and then a moisturizer and a sunscreen. I keep it really simple, and then I cheat.
What kind of moisturizer? HA, growth factors?
I try to get an all-inclusive one. So one of my favorite goes to, probably is Bio Cream by Neocutis because it has growth factors, antioxidants, kind of your all-in-one. Or I really do love the Restorative Skin Complex by Elastin. So I toggle between those for myself as well. And then I tell them to put that under their eyes because I'm like, okay, if we're on a budget, we're just going to put it everywhere. And if they're busy, right? So you just take it everywhere. And then at night, you're giving me one extra product.
Yes.
I would do cleanser. Again, I usually tell them at night, take a little extra time to really wash the oil off the face.
Do you do a double cleanse? Or do you ever tell people to do a cleanse?
No, not unless they have problematic skin or they've been out all day or they're trainers or, they're sweating a lot through the day. Maybe I will, but usually I tell them one wash because I also don't want to strip natural oils off their face. I have them do that. And then I would probably have them put a retinol on, a retin-A, something that's kind of anti-aging. That's when I would do an eye treatment because eyes are a focal point, and then put the moisturizer on from the morning. So I'm staying in that $500 budget. I won't give them 2 moisturizers. I'll just do it as a twice a day.
Okay. 55-year-old male.
Okay.
Money is not a problem.
Okay.
No time.
Well, great.
Can't be dry.
What's the point of the money?
Can't be dry. Can't be peely. Can't break out. No downtime. And it's a male.
Okay, and he has no time, so it has to be super simple.
Yes.
Okay.
Which I think even if guys have time,
So
they all pretend like they don't have time.
Yeah, so that's biogel.
Morning and night, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I do for my guys who don't have time. I'm like, if I have to pick one product, I pick biogel. Because it also works great as an aftershave. It's a gel. It's a hydrogel. It goes on really nice. It absorbs. It's perfect. So, yeah, I just told them, okay, if you're not going to do anything else, and if I can swing it, then I'll try to get them to do a cleanser and a sunscreen. But typically when you're giving me someone who doesn't have time, I tell them, fine, how do you wash your face? Now, the only time I tell them to get a cleanser is if they're like, so I'm like, okay, let's stop that for a second. So yeah, I would say.
Because majority of the guys, they wash everything in the shower with the same thing.
My husband was doing that until I gave him a cleanser. So yeah, so I would say just biogel. That's my go-to for guys.
Okay. Any last tips, tricks, pearls in the last 12 years that you have realized, like, man, this is a gem?
Like as far as a product? Oh man, there's so many. It's hard. And
that's the hard part, right? That's the whole point.
There's so many good products, and I think that as time goes on, we're seeing more and more, right? Like you and I recently started procuring Isden, and we've loved how corrective their products are, how gentle they are, how not gentle they are. I mean, there's such a wide variety of what they can do. My all-time favorite still is Neocutis. I mean, I've always loved it, and I continue to love it. And, just the foundation of the science of it, just I feel like it's great for people who don't want to age.
I honestly, when my patients ask me, what is your favorite? I'm like, guys, it's like asking which is my favorite child. It depends on the day and who's getting on my nerves and who's not. That changes.
I know.
Same with skincare.
Yeah.
It depends on what time of the month it is.
Yeah.
Am I going to break out? Am I not going to break out? Is it sunny outside? Is it winter?
Seasonal,
is it
right?
summer?
Yeah.
Especially in Texas.
Yeah. And I do seasonal skincare. I tell my
Yes.
patients there's a lot of them that have to do something different in the winter and the summer. And I'm
Tell
like,
me
look.
tell me how you change that seasonal.
Well, I mean, we lose all our humidity, not all of it, but a majority of it when you get to winter time, and we tend to dry out a lot more, right? So it might go from using a serum or a gel during the summer to an actual cream or moisturizer that's a little bit heavier over the winter months, right? They might not be able to tolerate certain products. I ramp up the retinols in the winter time because I know they're not going to be as exposed to sun, right? So I tell them, I go, look, these products are going to last you 3 to 6 months, and we're probably going to have to change it up at that time anyways. Maybe 1 or 2 will kind of get replaced with something that's more appropriate for the season. So it's fluid. Got you. You like that word, right?
Yes.
Everything is fluid in life.
Everything is fluid.
It has
in life.
to change from time to time.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for giving all of our viewers and listeners our time.
Well, thank you. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
I like the topic. It's passion. Skin is passion.
I know.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Age to Perfection. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast for more valuable insights on living your best life at any age. Stay tuned for our next episode where we'll dive into the world of lasers. Until then, keep glowing with medical grade skincare.